everyone, Don here, back with the next update, progress report on my Corsair. Alright, as you can see, I went ahead and got the cowl flap piece fitted and glued down. Yesterday I spent the day working on this, cutting this groove out, about a 1/4 inch all the way around. And then here's the top section. I took and cut the fiberglass out. This is the original piece here. It's pretty close. Pretty close. Might be able to make it work. That's one of the holes that'll be attached to the aluminum to give me the extension. But I had to take this out to cut this back edge down so it would fit more flush. But you can see there's essentially the groove I cut in. I was trying to make up a jig with a router and what's called a slitting saw to cut around here, get a nice even pattern off a piece of plywood on here, set up like a circle cutter. But this thing varied so much in and out from the damage and the repair. It's no longer round. But I did put it all in the jig and was able to glue this in. That was yesterday. I got this glued in, and I did use what I mentioned I was going to use, the cotton flocks, the ground up cotton. So that's, you can see in the seam there, that's all filled up all the way down in the crack. First I took some raw epoxy and a brush and worked it down all the way down into the bottom, and then I mixed up the cotton flocks. Like I said, when that stuff dries, it's like concrete, or not dries, but cures. So there was, epoxy had streaked down from here because it wasn't sealed or nothing. And then today it came out, it's solid, it's here, the pieces down here popping and cracking, but this is physically solid, man. It won't move. It's not flexible anymore. And then today I mixed up some epoxy and microballoons, and I started filling in these bad spots. And I was looking for these. I was looking for this. This is a palette knife for painters, for painting, for mixing up paint for artistry. But I got these from Walmart. I was looking for the ones, they have a wooden handle, and this is metal. These are steel. Well, I couldn't find them because I went down the aisle like 3 separate times looking for these things, and I couldn't find them. And then I was just ready to walk away, and I just happened to notice this thing hanging up in the corner. I said, what is that? And this is what it is. So, but this is the one I was essentially looking for. This is the smaller one. But I went ahead and used this one. The problem with these is they're plastic and they are susceptible to the lacquer thinner I use for cleaning up the epoxy. But that's what I was looking for. It works really well, so I'm going to go to a better shop that sells painting supplies and try to find this in steel, the metal, wooden handle with a metal. But I figured for $3, it was like less than $4, 3 something for these 5. I was like, that'll work. So today I came out here and I had to sand this all down. Those blocks of wood I had on here, some epoxy got down behind them and literally glued them on there, and I had to chisel pretty much all of them off. So then, like this here, pulled some material out, so I had to put a little in there. But for the most part, I wasn't looking to actually fill this in like this, but there were some areas that were sticking out more than others, and I just needed to kind of seal it up. And I mixed up the smallest batch I could, but it was still a lot. So, but I did use this little knife here, to pack this stuff into these sides where it was a little hollow on the inside. So I packed it in best I could. A couple little small spots in the edges. Some of the edges were, a little rough, so I filled them all in. But the nice thing is this stuff sands fairly easy. You can just a small little hand block that'll sand fine, and in here I'll make up a thinner one. Like this here's one little block I've used on the plane over the time. But this will still stick out just enough that when I sand this down, it'll still leave a definitive little edge right here is what I'm looking for. So again, this is still all smooth from the original mold. So I'm pretty much out of epoxy. I've got, if you can see it, that's all I got left. And that's only enough to mix up. If you use this little cup at 3 to 1, that'll fill it up to that 1, because I poured it all in there and there was 2. So I dumped half of it back out, and then I mixed it with the hardener to here at 3 to 1. This is the 3 to 1 up here, so I mixed it up that much with the hardener, and then I filled it up probably up into here with the microbloons. So I've got enough to do that again. I won't have enough to close this hole off. If I decide to close off, I figure this might be a weak here, but it's not. It's still pretty sound. So I may or may not close this off. May just leave it open for a breather. It's on the very bottom of the cowling. You can't see it. So, but you can see I got some stuff here. It'll take a little bit to hand sand them. My seam where I got to cut it is good. It's closer to this edge than this edge. This you can see the seam, so I'll use the little slitting blade to cut right down through both sides of this, and it'll still be pretty strong. And then I got to glue this piece in. So I might be able to use the last of that epoxy to get this put in and reseal it up. It looks like it's going to need trimmed off a little bit, about a 1/8 3/16 of an inch to make it fit good, and glue that in. So I'm going to go ahead and order up basically a quart kit of this, because I still need some to get that wingtip fixed next after this cowling. I got more hardener left than I need, so once this is gone, whatever's left of that I can throw away, because I'm not going to get the medium speed. I'm going to go with the slow speed, because this stuff just sets up too quick. I mean, this stuff was really setting by the time I finally finished filling this all in just to use it up. It was pretty thick, and it was pretty hard to smear out on there, but it's dried, it's cured very well. So it's pretty much ready for sanding now, but I'm not going to bother with it. So yesterday I had to cut this open to fit it, and then I glued these on, and today was cleaning this all up and then filling it in and so forth. But yesterday my neighbor across the street, he has 2 guys that live with him. They all share rent, so there's 3 guys living in that house. Well, yesterday he comes over and says, "Hey, my friend so-and-so, he's been laying on his floor for the last couple of days, and he's looks pretty bad, and he doesn't want me to call the paramedics or ambulance for him." And he says he's talking about he can't move his arm and his leg on his one side, and he's got slurred speech, and he says, well, he's had a stroke. And he laid in there for like 2 days, not wanting anybody to call this ambulance for him. So I told him, call the damn ambulance. He is a vet. He did serve in the Army. He spent time overseas in Germany, I guess. But if he was concerned about the bill, and I says, well, if he's registered with the VA will cover it. I mean, because they covered my bill. I mean, I had a $30,000 bill from a stay in the hospital for one night, and VA settled it, took care of it, and I only paid $78 for a copay. But I said, but they'll cover him regardless. But if he's not registered, he might have things. But anyway, when the paramedics came, I asked them, says, well, did he have a stroke? And he says, oh yeah, he had a stroke. He goes, he's going to be like that for the rest of his life, because he didn't go in, and they might have been able to minimize the damage, but they said no, he's probably going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life, and he's only in his late 50s. I mean, he's between 55 and 60, just a couple years younger than I am. So, but he was just concerned about the bill. So that took up some time yesterday, so I didn't get a whole lot done yesterday. By the time that happened, I didn't even have this cut out yet. So, but that's all I've really got to report. I'm going to go ahead and order some epoxy tonight. My YouTube, I got like $109 coming tomorrow. Should be here tomorrow. And then I still have to order some white paint and primer. But it's going to take me a little while to finish this out. But this stuff here, like I said, it's like cement. That is really tough. That's not coming off of there. And I did fill that hole right there. I got a piece of clear packing tape over it to hold it in. That took a bit to fill it. And it was a little thick to cram in there, but like that one there, that was a hole I had to fill before. So the inside is pretty much good to go. Once I pull that off, I'll hit it with sandpaper, and some of the epoxy was dripping and falling down in. You kind of see a streak right there. But I'll just hit it with a sander, because I'm just going to prime this. That's all I'm going to do is prime it with that nice primer. I'll just get a quart kit. This would be a quart. You'll get one of these and then enough hardener to activate it. So you end up with more than a quart, I believe, because this was the half-gallon kit. But I can't remember if this was full or not. Neither one of them. But that's more than I need to finish that. And this, I got that spot here filled, as you can see, sand it down, and if it's not completely filled, it is what it is. I'm just going to blend it in and to hell with it. And I got to kind of clean some of this off in order to get that door back in there. So get this all sanded out and ready, prepped for primer, and then I'll get see if I got enough money to order that, because again, that stuff is like $40 a can, and you got to get the hardener and the activator and the stuff. So it could be, you know, over $100 just for 1 pint of color and a quart of primer and then the activator hardener. So it'd probably be over $100 just for those two things, 3 items, I guess. I ran out of rollers, so I went to Lowe's this morning and grabbed some rollers. These things are 6 of them for $13 now, so even them are going up. So when I went to Lowe's first, and then I did my grocery shopping at Walmart, I went and looked. So let me see if Walmart's got any of these. It took me a while. I went to the paint section, and I still couldn't looking, and I finally found them. And they had all the exact same size, same type of foam, different brand. These were 13 something, and they had them for $11 and some change, so they're almost $2 cheaper. But with Lowe's, I have military discount there, so I get 10% off. So at $13, it was $1.30 and something. So they're pretty much the same price whether I get them at Walmart. But Walmart's closer to me than Lowe's. So if I need some more, that'll give me enough to finish out my wingtip. I don't really need it for any of this anymore. I just need to have some on hand next time I use them. And then I'm running out of sandpaper for this Velcro type 6-inch sander. I need to get some. I had 80 grit on there, sanded most of that, so I ran out of my 80, so I got to go find some more of that. Otherwise, I think that's about all I got. Not much to report, but it's coming along. This is probably going to take a little longer than I hope, but again, most of this is really clean. So then once I hit it with the primer, that'll show up any other small little holes, and then I can hit that with some spot putty and have it ready for color. Then the next thing, after I get it all, I'll probably cut this before I paint it. After I get this all sanded, I'll slice these off so the cowl can come apart. I'll have to clean it out here so it'll separate. But get her prepped up for paint. Maybe next weekend I'll have it in some kind of color. So here you can actually see a little bit where the stuff run all the way down here. Just the clear stuff. I knew it was going to do that, but I wanted to get it wet inside of here, so when I started packing in the cotton flocks, which is a little thicker, it'll already be wet, and you're not going to have any dry spots in there. All right, I guess I'm just going to keep this one short. We're at 13 minutes now, so that's all I got to report. And tomorrow, this is what's going on right now. Thunderstorms are rolling in, rumbling. It just stopped raining. I just got the lawn mowed before that. Rain started, walked the dog, got back, and the thunder started booming when we were walking. But this is the first rain we've seen in I don't know how long, and hopefully it'll rain all night long. So tomorrow, I'm hoping that it's not going to rain tomorrow because I got to tear the car apart tomorrow. I've got 2 lower control arms, aft, front, rear, lower. There's 2 lower control arms on the car. One goes straight in from the spindle, and the other one goes back like a trailing arm. But there's 2 of them with ball joints, and the back 2 are bad, and I've got them ordered. They'll probably be due shipped tomorrow, and I probably see them Tuesday because they only come out of Detroit, Michigan. That's from that Detroit axle on eBay. I usually get stuff in one day, so I ordered it Friday night, and I expect to see them Tuesday. So I plan on tearing that apart tomorrow. I'll have it ready for when the parts come. It'll go back together faster than it come apart, I guarantee you. But getting them arms out, I have to actually physically unbolt the rear cradle, engine cradle, in the back, drop it down just to get the bolts out for the rear. The front ones are ball joints. You just use a puller and pop them out of there. But those are a pain in the butt to get out too. So I got to change those because they've been knocking like crazy lately. Now the right side's actually making a groaning noise every time I turn to the right. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this update. As always, appreciate everybody taking time to watch my videos. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, concerns, and appreciate the ones that people leaving now. And as like always, don't be afraid to leave comments. Doesn't hurt. Okay, everyone, I will probably, I'm not sure if I'll have anything to report on Tuesday, but I'll try and get something up Tuesday. And it's really going to depend on how much time it takes to get this car apart and back together. But and if the parts show up, if they don't show up Tuesday, I'll have to wait Wednesday and Luckily, I don't have to work Wednesday if it comes down to that, but hopefully I'll be back on the road by Wednesday. So, all right, everybody, thanks for watching again, and I will probably maybe see you guys Tuesday night. If not, it'll be next weekend again. All right, so for now, this is going to be Don or Don out. See you guys.